Well, here we are this morning. It's so good to see everyone. Wow. We get to be in the flow, even when things don't go the way you think they should go. You know, the divine has such a sense of humor, right? Because today our lesson is about going gently down the stream. So we tried to row a little bit over here quickly, but that didn't work. So we're just dropping the oars and going with the flow. So during Sunday school, one time, a teacher was reading the story of Noah's Ark to the kids. And she talked about how, two of every animal, two of every creature got to go in the ark. And then one kid raised her hand and she said, where did the termites go? The fine print. So we've been working with the book Row, Row, Row Your Boat by Stephen Lane Taylor. And I love how it's a metaphor for our lives and our spiritual journey. And it causes us to use our imagination. So are you ready to use your imagination today? Good, good. So first of all, imagine that you are a boat. Does something come to mind? And you've been placed into a stream that is the flow of God's goodness, that is there to support you, guide you, and nurture you on your journey through life. You've also come equipped with a set of oars that you can use to take you in any direction. And your oars are your free will. So today we're going to look at how to row. First of all, are there any people who do row, boats? Real boats? A few people. Okay. So what is that song again? Row, row, row your boat. Gently down the stream. Yes, gently. We'll be singing it more. That's okay. See, this group loves to sing. That's great. Okay, Jack, I got that. So gently down the stream, what does that mean? It means being flexible, right? Flexible. Blessed are the flexible, for they will not be bent out of shape. Flexible instead of forceful. Forceful. What would forceful look like? Swearing at the computer? Oh boy. Flexible. And it relates to the questions. We had some questions last week to contemplate for the week. Did anyone get to do that? One of the questions was, am I willing to let go of what I think I know? Are you willing to let go of what you think you know? That's a big one, isn't it? Because we can really dig in on what we think we know. So today also includes being humble. The message to reminder to be humble, to remain teachable. Because God is always pressing in us, through us, to express more of our divinity. Love made visible, God made visible, peace made visible. And this includes new ideas and new ways of doing things. Because we are not static creatures. We are dynamic spiritual beings, ever growing, ever evolving, whether we're conscious of it or not. But being conscious of it, we can cooperate with it more, right? And we notice the miracles, that there are miracles every day when we have the eyes to see, when we're willing to see. If we're paying attention to what's going on within us and what's going on around us. Those were two other questions from last week. To pay attention on what's going on within us and what's going on around us. So I had the opportunity this week. It was quite delightful. I was in my car driving, and I was at a stoplight, and the car next to me, in the back seat, the window was down. I see this little hand come out, and I hear this little voice says, "Hi." I couldn't see her face, so I just said, "Hi." And then the hand came out and says, "Have a great day." So you too. And then we get down a little farther at the next stoplight, and the car's ahead of me, and I see the little hand come out again to the cars. And I was so grateful that I was present, looking around. I would have missed that. Was so precious, And I was so grateful that the kids, I think there were 2 of them in the back seat, that they were present too. They were present to joy. They weren't lost in their screens or in their tablets, They were present and spreading joy. So there are miracles, and we have eyes to see. And we have some good affirmations about that. Would you like to be a miracle magnet? I am a miracle magnet. Say that with me if you choose. I am a miracle magnet. That's so poetic. Let's say it again. I am a miracle magnet. Ooh, once more. I am a miracle magnet. Got that flow going. I am in the flow of life, and the flow of life is in me. I am in the flow of life, and the flow of life is in me. I am flexible, fortunate, and free as God created me to be. I am flexible, fortunate, and free as God created me to be. Let's do that again. I am flexible, fortunate, and free as God created me to be. Just put your hand on your heart and feel that. We feel the whole body responding to that vibration of connecting with Source, right? This vibration of words of truth. So contrasted with feelings of resistance. We all know what that feels like, right? But to tap in to that flow, your body remembers. We remember from when we were in the womb and everything was provided for. There was flow of life, nutrients, everything we needed. So, you'll have to imagine a graphic up here. I found this picture that just made me laugh. It was this guy in a raft. He was drinking, I think it was an adult beverage, and he was smiling, and the water he was in was a flood up to his driveway. And he was smiling. And he was just going with the flow. Because the waters, whatever is happening in our lives, the waters can rise and look very scary, but they will subside. This too shall pass, right? So we can feel that in our bodies, the flow, or the times we try to stop the flow, the divine flow, and it might show up as being overly focused on problems, or complaining and blaming to anyone who will listen. Have you ever been in line at the store? A long line? And, that's a good place to be a prayerful person, right? Or wanting things to go back to how they were. Or difficulty forgiving or letting go. So I love we had the song about letting go. Or needing things to be your way. So when we allow these thoughts to battle in our minds, we just row ourselves in circles, right? And get exhausted until it's just too uncomfortable to keep doing it. And, and then we reach for that center stream of God presence and power and peace that is present no matter what's going on around in our lives or out there in the world. So maybe we've done that a lot, found ourselves in a little chaotic circle and then gone back to the center, back to the center, back to the center and flow, the divine stream. And it's kind of a natural thing to go back and forth. I don't know anyone who's in that center stream 24/7, 365 days a year. Maybe a monk on a mountain somewhere. Or they've ascended. Because we've all had to adjust to change. Rapid change and rabid change. And things we can't control, right? But we are spiritually resilient. Spiritually resilient. And we're all finding our way, and to be gentle with ourselves and with others will make the ride more pleasant. One thing to remember of going through a trying time, a difficult time, we always have the choice when we get through it to let it define us or refine us. So letting something define us just kind of shuts us down to possibilities. But if we let it refine us, even if we say, God, I don't know why this is happening. I don't like it. I don't like what's happening. I don't know why, but I'm willing to grow. I am willing to see the lesson. I am willing to trust that, Spirit, you know where this is going. You know what is coming forth in me, through me. A lot of times we row ourselves in circles when we think, why did this happen? But that just takes us in a circle, because even if we found out why something really hurtful or challenging happened, we wouldn't like the answer. But a more empowering question is to ask ourselves, who do I want to be now that this has happened? Who do I choose to be now that that has happened? How is this cracking me open to be more of that light made visible, more of God made visible? We have the choice. So there is a steady flowing stream beneath any worldly churning, guiding us, supporting us, loving us through life. So if you're going through something right now, too, I invite you to rest and let yourself be carried by the stream of the love of God that will deliver you to a new place, a healed place, a peaceful place, a place of greater understanding. I've heard that the greatest ability is availability. So when we make ourselves available to the guidance of Spirit, we are guided, and we know where to roam. So the Bible is full of cautionary tales about those who ignore divine guidance or God's way. Maybe some come to mind. I was thinking of Jonah and the whale, or Jonah and the great fish. How many remember that story? Where in the story, God goes to Jonah and says, I want you to go to Nineveh and preach to those people and tell them to stop their wicked ways. And one definition of wicked means under a spell. So there was one problem, though, because Jonah didn't want to do that. He said, they deserve to be punished. So Jonah runs away, gets on a ship, and goes in another direction. But then there are more problems because you can run, but you cannot hide, right? And the storm churns up, and the sailors are getting scared. The boat's going to capsize. They start throwing their things over, and then they look at Jonah, who's not scared, and he's, was asleep. And they said, "Hey, do you have something to do with this?" And to his credit, he said, "Yeah, it's me. I'm running from God, and if you throw me overboard, the sea will calm down." So they do. And the sea calms down. And this is the part where the big fish just scoops him up, swallows him up. And he's in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. And then, in the darkness, not knowing where he's going, he starts to pray. He starts to pray. He starts to give thanks. He starts to praise God. He gives thanks to God for not letting him drown. And he has a change of heart. And then God, who sees us, instructs the whale to spit him out onto the shore. Actually, the Bible says vomited. Fish spits him out. And so we notice that when he has this shift of turning toward God and just surrenders of trying to run away from what he's called to do, he's delivered from his suffering. And haven't we all done this in our own lives, insist on doing it our way, and then feeling swallowed by our own stubborn, maybe unwise choices. But there's always grace. There's always God's grace that leads us back to the stream, back to the flow. And we remember that every choice we make, there's no choice is wasted, no time is wasted, because either we will get closer to our destination or we will learn something. I call that taking the scenic route. Have you taken the scenic route a few times? Yeah. It's pretty interesting, right? Sometimes not too fun, but... So Jonah took the scenic route. God asked him again, will you go to Nineveh? Will you go there and preach to the people and help them mend their ways? And so Jonah does that. They listen to him, and they start listening and living with God instead of in separation from God. And so this is a story that's rich for us, because haven't we all gotten a nudge that's persistent to do something that part of us knows, okay, that would be a good thing to do, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Like maybe it's like, go make peace with your sister or someone in your family. And there's a voice that argues, but you don't know what she did. Resist, resist, resist. But then Spirit has that sense of humor and grace, and you may find yourself, at a gathering, and you come to the table, there's one seat left, and who is it next to? Or we get a nudge to stop burning the candle at both ends and have more balance in our lives. But if we ignore it, what happens often? The body says, no, we're not doing this anymore. And there could be a healing crisis to get us to slow down, repair, reassess, reevaluate, and create more balance in our lives. Or we get a nudge to share one of your gifts or talents. And you say, oh no, that's too scary, I can't do that. But then, you're presented, you're the only one that can do it. Has that ever happened to someone? Yeah, let's see hands. Boy, I was reading about this couple that got married in Texas, and they were, on their wedding day, they were at the venue, everything was decorated, all the families were there, they were all set. The caterer was there, but the minister didn't show up. And so the bride's mother looked at the caterer who had his barbecue set up, and she said, "By any chance, are you a pastor?" I said, "Why, yes, I am." And he performed the ceremony. So it's that divine urge is always flowing in you to be more light, more love, more joy in this world. So metaphysically, the whale or the big fish represents a big idea. And in the darkness of the belly of the whale, Jonah had a change of heart. He was resting in a big idea that changed his direction. So in times when we may feel like we're inside of the whale, we don't know where we're going, what's happening, can't see very far, it's kind of stinky and smelly in the whale, and what's going on, God? This can be a rich time of incubation in a bigger idea that will make itself known to you when the time is right. Sometimes the biggest healing we can have is a change of heart that takes us in a new direction. Stephen Lane Taylor says, the central teaching of row, row, row your boat is when the going gets tough, the tough may get going, but the wise stop rowing. That's hard sometimes to just do nothing, right? We've been working, push, the door's not opening, keep knocking, just to stop. Stop rowing. Stop, look, and listen. Stop, look around us. Are there any other open doors that we can go to? Are we spending time in prayer and meditation to listen to that still small voice that will always lead us in the right direction? He says, you'll know you're rowing with the flow because it will feel as if the whole universe is supporting you in a new direction. So one last thing about this today. One important note about rowing is it's important to keep your oars in your own boat. How often are we tempted, or have we done, stick our oar in somebody else's boat? A spouse, a partner, an adult child, a sibling, a co-worker, like, oh, let me tell you, honey, this is where you need to go. This is the right way to go. Come on, get on board here. Giving them advice unasked. I remember when I tried to do this with my adult children, and imagine my shock when they didn't want to go where I thought they should go. But think about it. Would you like someone putting their oars in your boat and using their free will to direct your direction? So going gently down the stream means we get to row our own boats from wherever we are. We don't have to row upstream to go downstream, right? We can let it be easy. And know that the divine flow will never leave you stuck in a sandbar or spinning in an eddy. It will never leave you up the creek without a paddle. So let us go forth affirming, I am flexible, fortunate, and free as God created me to be. Together, I am flexible, fortunate, and free as God created me to be. And so it is.